home? Hello and welcome to my garden. Today I'm going to be showing you around and going over some of the plants that we have, some of the mistakes that I've made over the years, and some things that I've actually forgotten to do this year alone. But I'm going to show you what our wild garden looks like, and then I'm going to be showing you some ideas that we have in the works to expand our garden and our urban homestead. We live on 0.36 of an acre in a rural town in Northern California, and I'm trying to figure out ways to make this more of a profitable thing for us, whether that means that I'm gonna sell some food on the side, or I've even considered growing herbs for medicinal purposes and teas and things like that locally, which sounds really fun as I say it. So I'm going to show you what our ideas are for that, and I would love your thoughts in the comments about what I'm showing you today. So let's go. And I did try shooting this earlier in the middle of the day when it was about 100 degrees outside, and my kids stopped me, so you might see some interjections of that. But let me show you what the garden looks like. It's almost 8 o'clock here, so hopefully it's better lighting. This is our lovely volunteer garden where we used to have our chickens. You may have seen this before if you've been following along this season. These are just leftover seeds that the chickens had in their pen area, and as you can see, they've been very prolific. I don't have a clue what those pumpkins are for the type that they are, but I'm assuming like Howden or something along those lines. And then you'll see some mullein there, and that is all lemon balm in there, and it is getting ready to flower. I do have even more mullein there. I'm going to harvest those clean leaves that you can see, like the red dirt underneath tends to make them a little dirty. And then around the rocks over here, these tomatoes are just awe-inspiring to me. It just shows that things can really grow anywhere, and these were so hardy, and they look like they're just going to be little snackers, so my kids keep running over there to watch and see if they can grab anything. And then there's even more tomatoes in between the squashes, so literally this is just a wild garden that we are letting go to town. You can see the sprinkler that's by it, that we sprinkler this whole side of the yard about every other day or every couple days, just because of how hot our yard has been. But this has been a really fun treat for us and something really exciting for us to figure out. And those are ground cherries. Those are absolutely delicious. Lots and lots of zucchini. This is, so down here is the honey nut squash. It's vining from over here. It's probably going into the jungle in there too. As you can see, this is a very overgrown, especially with all the asparagus. And these volunteer tomatoes everywhere. They are absolutely everywhere. See? All of these from last year's that just dropped down, and I don't have the heart to get rid of them. Some basil in here. Probably pick that soon for some more pesto. Here is a lovely blue Hubbard. Hopefully not getting eaten by any rodents around here. It's first year growing those. See, a few more coming around And this massive, just fun little tomato over here. This was getting eaten, so I did sprinkle it with diatomaceous earth, and it seems to have helped it. You're going to see a lot of strawberries. A lot. I have a green thumb for strawberries. There's some melon in here, hiding and coming out this way. And then some weeds, wild lettuce to be exact. Ooh, I just found a patty pan. This one snuck through my radar. This is a little yellow. Little yellow one I can grab. There's a huge one in there. I don't know if you can see that. That's probably going to go to the chickens at this point. But you'll see strawberries here. Rosemary that I just planted. I think there's 2 in there. So, one little bed. The smell of rosemary. Ah, it's so nice. All here, going up these 2 trellises, these 2 cattle panels, is a bunch of Armenian cucumbers. And then I have some loofahs that are growing at the end. I'll show you. But through here is a bunch of volunteer, what is it called, strawberries, that I'm still going through and picking out the runners and even full-on plants, because these are the runners. See, you have, these are 2 runners actually, and if you pull these off as they grow, usually before here, so like at this stage, when they're this little, you'll keep getting strawberries, because they'll put more effort back into the fruit. If you let them get to this stage, you're going to get plants. And here I still have some strawberries. And look, the little tomatoes. So these are going to be, they look like they might be snacker tomatoes, but I guess we'll find out, because I had a whole bunch growing in here. And again, all volunteer. And we've already gotten a couple of the Armenians. Where am I at? The Armenians are these. I forgot to plant regular cucumbers to pickle or to snack on. So that's all we have right now is Armenian. I need to get some seeds in the ground this week. We have a very long growing season, so I don't think it'll be a problem. We're just going to be really late on getting cucumbers. So when everyone else is petered out of cucumbers, we'll be welcoming them with open arms. So this is the loofah. It's kind of cool. This will be the first year that I've gotten this far on loofahs. Usually they die out on me. Just some pretty amaranth. I think this is some viola catnip. I harvested a bunch. And it's part of the mint family, so it is a bully. So it is going to town. This is why you get roosters, y'all. Otherwise, they pick on each other. With some basil in there. And just a couple of my elderberry plants. See? So on this side of the trellis, we have more amaranth. And I don't remember what I have going here, so let's look at the Kazuki squash. This will be a first for me. These are some really pretty leaves. They're like velvety. And then here's another strawberry runner. Pull on that. More strawberries that aren't done quite yet. Lots of spider webs. But this is what happens to a strawberry bed. Can you see just how overgrown it has become with some sage at the very end? But my poor asparagus in the middle of this, this is the asparagus when you let it out to fern, and a big wild lettuce, which does have medicinal properties, which is why I have not taken it out. But it's no longer really useful for me at this stage, I don't think, so I need to get to it. But usually on these trellises I'll put little watermelons, and you'll see through here there's another one full of strawberries. So I'll be working on that this year. With these strawberries, I'm going to be putting them in the expansion area, hopefully getting them out of these beds, because it's taken up over 3 of my 4x12s, so half of them. So 4x6s beds is what they've taken over. And while they're very prolific, and my children love to come out here and snack on them when they don't want to eat their food, that's too much. It's too much. Here's some sage. I've already been cutting it back. It completely came out and flowered. Here's some more of my hidden asparagus that I should have harvested, and here as well. So that's what happens when you don't harvest it. It ferns out like that. And then I have some burdock going through here so I can harvest the roots for medicinal use. And again, just strawberries. These are pretty. This is a peppermint balsam. Super, just love them. And they reseed themselves, so these will probably be here forever now. I did plant some plantain from Azure. This is their little local nursery that you can get, because I don't have any broadleaf plantain, and when you have little kids, this is ideal for splinters, stings, cuts. It's a wonderful antimicrobial herb. You can use it pretty rapidly. And then I just have some pots, some excess lemon balm that I've given it a nice haircut in most of the spots, and it's growing back quite lovely. Have some echinacea. I've never really been able to do echinacea, so this will be interesting if it actually flowers for me. I have 3 of these. And then this is a volunteer area. Volunteer salvia. Some volunteer holy basil, which I'm thrilled about because my other stuff has not been going. So, and then another echinacea over there. So, another echinacea, and then this is the balsam. It, like I said, reseeds itself. I had planted it here last year, and it's growing again right now. Some violets, those are beautiful. Some peppermint. This is some lavender bergamot. That might be fun to make into an oil. Some zinnias on this side. So I have my 2 cattle panels over here. This one's an empty aisle. Then I have my 2 cattle panels over here. And then the one behind me. But these are all, I'm sure you can guess, basils in various forms. This is sweet basil. I have some lemon basil, which, again, smell-o-vision would be absolutely amazing. You can see I need to harvest a lot. And this is cinnamon basil. These all make really wonderful teas if you do a cold infusion. Add some peppermint, lemon balm. These are delicious. And then I'm trying to do toothache. It's not coming up for me. I think my seeds were dead because it's my second time. And again with the asparagus and all of the strawberries that have taken over. And again. We're still getting flowers. Oops. So here is a good example of what happens when you don't pick. You get a runner that then sends another runner. That's how this happens. So you want to pick them. Now you can transplant these, ideally before you pick them, but it does work sometimes afterwards. Let's see if the camera will focus. Right here is where the root will come out if you put this in. Careful not to cover the crown. And usually put like a paper clip or something just to keep it down in moist soil out of the sun. And they will transplant for you. That's how all this happened when we moved up here from the city. These are what I brought with me. So no, I don't know the variety because I brought them like this from years ago. Years and years ago. Oh. More balsam. See? It just sprouts wherever. Just wherever. So, going to be picking this out, thinning this out. Believe it or not, I did thin it out a lot last time. It's my lazy dog. Lazy dog. So. And then I did, again, for the life of me, attempt to put brassicas in this bed. Clearly it worked out real well, but in all seriousness, I'm not going to do that anymore in the spring because we really don't have a spring. We tend to just go straight into summer here. It goes from cold nights and hail to hot. Here we are. So I'm going to try it again in the fall this time, so maybe late August, because we don't have a frost scheduled or estimated till beginning of December. Last year we never had a frost, so we'll see. So this bed that is empty is I'm probably going to put the cucumbers that I had mentioned, I forgot, in this trellis right here. So I'll probably do cucumbers up this trellis. It is pretty shaded here, which is why I try my brassicas back here, but my asparagus like it. There's some onions in there that are just not growing. And then I have more burdock, and that one just took off. This is what burdock looks like when it flowers. And so there you go. Burdock root is what I'm wanting for medicinal. And then over here, I did just finally plant some beans to go up in trellis, and then over in here I just planted some beans. I think I did some soybeans because my daughter absolutely loves edamame, and then some regular full beans again. I did a couple different varieties. Let's see. So I did, these will be Kentucky, and I don't have a tag over on this side. Oh, there it is. This will be the Thai soldiers. And if you have never done Thai soldiers, those are so fun. They're very prolific for me. And again, we have a long growing season, so what's today? July 14th? We'll be fine with beans, even the trellising kind. And then these are my very overgrown carrots. They immediately basically went to seed, as you can see. So again, try that later. Try it again. That's the fun stuff about gardening. Doing it and failing and learning and trying. But I just have to come to the realization I cannot have any cool weather crops in the spring here. And our zinnias. Probably time to start deadheading these. Well, on this side, so this is my last trellis. Let's see, I have my lights stringing through here for a night. So this is where my artichokes were, or making it. If you see my previous video with making a tincture with the artichoke leaves, these used to be much prettier. They're dead and dying, and that's what artichokes look like. I'll link that video in the description below if you're interested. But artichoke leaves are medicinal. And then I have some aloe vera in here because it was getting shaded nicely from the artichoke plants. It's not so much anymore. Same with like my leeks. The dill, which is covered in ladybugs. This was a volunteer plant. It's been here 2 years now. It's come back. If you know what it is, let me know. I'm really not good with flowers. I could snap a picture of it, I'm sure, and Google it, but it'd be fun. Just tell me. And then this is my first year doing like some tomatillos. So I've never done these before. I have 2 different kinds because I know that they need to cross-pollinate. So I'm doing a Grande Rio and a purple tomatillo. They're doing pretty good. And then on this side I have a couple different things. So this is a passion flower. It didn't have the variety on it. I was hopeful it was going to be the Passiflora incarnata, which is the medicinal form that I wanted. However, it is giving me fruit. There's a couple on here that are going to give me fruit. And then this is the flower. Where are you? Let's see. So they're very pretty, but it's the wrong one. So I went ahead and got 2 more, made doubly sure that these were the correct kind. So the Passiflora incarnata, which is what you want if you're doing it for medicinal purposes. So hopefully these 2 will come up and take over. And through here I had, you may have seen in previous things, so much self-seeded calendula, oregano, more lemon balm, and I cut it all out because I'm going to restart this bed over, probably with beans or something. Not quite sure yet. Let me know if you have ideas or something you want to see. But I give the lemon balm a haircut and cut it way back, and as you can see, it is starting to come back. Again, it's part of the mint family. It will keep coming back and taking over. Same with like this thyme. This is the berry area. Reaches all the way back. And this was coming all the way out here into our aisles. And my lovely older daughter decided to chop it back. And we even moved our comfrey pot that we had here, and already in like 2 weeks we have more comfrey growing up. Cut all the berries back and they're already coming up again. So these are going to be getting moved as much as possible, and I'll go over that later. If you like green stalks, just make sure that you don't have a high wind area. Ours is deconstructed because of that. We live on the ridge of the mountain, and those do not stay up for us. So they are deconstructed. This monstrosity is fennel. Let's see if it is, this plant here is probably 3 years old. I just chop it down every year and it comes right on back. I wanted to save it for seeds, but it is riddled with bugaboos. So I need to just chop it down, which I'll probably do this week. And that is my spearmint. I've had that for quite a while. As you can see, I take a lot of it. And it'll be flowering soon. There's already some flowers back there from the bees are enjoying. So, but this is fennel, if you're wondering. It can get really, really, really big. That's probably because it's in my raised beds, and then it's probably 10 feet high, maybe. Easy. It's probably like my house ceiling height. So with the fennel over here, we have some of the tomatoes and more comfrey. I just chopped all of that down, and there's more in here that it spread it's spread that way. So this is going to be a project for me, is taking the rhizome out as much as possible, because comfrey, just like the blackberries and everything over there, it really just keeps going. And no one warned me of that when I bought it and planted it here. I did not know it was going to spread. So I just chopped all that down, which is why that poor little tomato plant. So my biggest tip is to do your due diligence on if a plant spreads. I just didn't, and my garden shows it in the wildness that it is. And so we have a bunch of tomatoes. I think I have 12 this year. The first year we were here, we did 40 something. Too much. And I don't think 12 is enough this year. Next year I'll probably do 24 maybe, but the heat is getting to them, so I'll show you. So with tomatoes, you definitely want to make sure that they have airflow. See, this one is already riddled with bugaboos again. Oh wow, I didn't realize how much it was riddled with bugaboos. Holy goodness. Okay, I'm going to take a hose to this in the morning, because tomatoes don't like to get wet and stay wet, so I'll do it in the morning and it'll dry a lot faster. But you want to cut off the bottom. If it's a indeterminate tomato, you're going to want to cut off the bottom stems of this so that it has airflow. So that's why a lot of mine are bare on the bottom, except for this one. This is a determinate. And you'll see that these lovely weeds just don't stop. And on the other side, it's really, really bad. Ooh, my child has been in here because this is upside down and in the back. So Supernova, these are the snackers. And then I have Yellow Pear, which is more snackers. Kids just love it. So Supernova. These are turning yellow, little snackers. My little Roma, really sad Roma. It almost died, so I'm actually surprised it's even producing. Ooh. This one has wonderful blossom end rot. Look, wonderful blossom end rot. So I'm just going to pull this and give it to the chickens once I pick it up off the floor. But in here, see, I cut off a bunch. I was being diligent in the beginning. Not so much now. Not so much now that it's a jungle. But I think these are the Dr. Witchies. And then in this bed over here, I have a few more tomatoes going. You can see the lovely beefsteaks coming in right there. This monstrosity is on the other side of that. I swear it grows like a foot every single day. And I don't remember what it is, a squash, clearly, but I don't know which one. It's around it's around in there. I'll get there. So these are all the tomatoes, and as you can see, this is what I'm talking about with the lovely weeds. They just don't stop, and they wrap up. I did just fertilize this bed though, so they're really enjoying life right now. And then in between, I had some volunteer oregano go to bloom and stuff. So these are Amish pastes. They're not the easiest ones for me to grow. They seem to be doing pretty decent this time. We'll see. And then these are my favorite ones here. These are the Bonnie Best. These were the best ones, literally, that I've ever grown. But this one does not seem too happy to this year. But it is riddled with buggies. There we go. These tomato cages, by the way, I love these. Gardener Supply. I can put a link in the description if you're interested. Got a little one back there. These are the beefsteaks. This one, for some reason, looks like it got topped. Unless this was just a determinate one and I didn't realize it. But generally, they're up there by now. And then another plantain I just stuck in over here. You'll notice I keep these everywhere. And I think this is wild chicory that I planted, but as you can see, the bugs are just horrible this year. Like, just horrible. And then I have a valerian. This is a valerian, so I can harvest the valerian root. I believe in the fall. It's been my first year. But yeah, this is wild chicory. And I don't remember why I did that, but there we are. And so some of the golden berries that I thought would be genius to plant in the end of these 3 rows over here. And I'll show you in a short bit. You can probably see already just how big. And so this is south facing. So that's my west. Or no, excuse me. That's my east. There's my west where the sun is setting. Promise you, I know my directions. And then some pretty sunflowers, as you can see, facing the west right now. But these, when the sun rises, definitely blocks the garden, which is good and bad with the heat. But here's the berries. There is an 8-foot cloth bag in here somewhere. You might see some black in there that have just taken over. There is some jasmine here at the end. That poor thing, I don't even know how I'm going to get it out. And then all of these blueberries in pots and these raspberries through here. There is an orange bag down in the middle that these started in and have now expanded out of. So there is the black bag. Those cloth bags. It's 8 foot long. Just put a couple canes in there and there we go. But we are in the process of moving whatever blueberries have not died. This one may not be one. Looks pretty scorched. Putting them into the ground in the expansion, and I'll show you that shortly. But as you can see, the raspberries have really taken. And then there's a blueberry in here and some lavender that I have cut already and used. And then they're budding again, so I get another harvest. I'm so excited. And just like the rosemary, smelling hands after that for the oils is wonderful. But raspberries all through the ground. And the blueberries all through the ground. So we have more sunflowers. My chive's gone to seed. Just let them fall where they may. Have some zinnias coming up. More catmint or catnip. Both call it both things. Thyme, more sunflowers, and then my mullein, and then this mullein. I've been harvesting this one with the flowers, and I got some of the leaves before it flowered. My son is putting away the chickens for the night. And then more squash just coming in. And on this side there's more zucchinis. So this one didn't do too well, so we'll just give that to the chickens tomorrow. But you can see there's some more growing as they do. But this one didn't go anywhere because of the lack of light. Same thing with this one. But it did. And so we have some pumpkins down in there. This was clary sage that a beautiful customer of mine at the shop that I used to own gave me. I was harvesting and it's died back now. Behind it is some hyssop that I'll show you in a sec. But yeah, it's getting pretty scorched over here. So there's some hyssop. I have been harvesting the hyssop. It's a very licoricey smell to me. But I have it for medicinal reasons as well. So it's just so pretty. And when this was fresh flowers, not spent flowers, it was a lot prettier. And then The goldenberry jungle continues over here. I have some volunteer holy basil throughout here that I'm super ecstatic about. Last year I had so much more. So much more. So I'm trying to harvest as much as I can. And I do have, this is my attempt to demonstrate how to trellis a zucchini. As you can see, it goes up inside, and then you just kind of cut the leaves off as you go. But I got busy and forgot. And so this one just kind of came through. And there is another zucchini for me to harvest down here. And you can never just leave a zucchini and say you're going to come back later, because otherwise they'll go from like a teeny tiny one to this. So this is the last bed. We have a total of 8 4x12s and 2 3x6s. This is the last of the large beds. And this is my pepper bed, because all there is straight sun from the south. These love it. And then I have a watermelon that's going through here that's just ecstatic. I'm going to try and remember to harvest this for medicinal purposes. It's a sedative. It's a great sedative. So I need to get to that. But I have this pepper over here, which is the Sugar Rush Peach, and that overwintered on its own. Proof we did not have a freeze, because I chopped it down a little bit after it was looking sad, and then there we are. And then this volunteer sunflower is about on its end, so I'm going to cut that down soon and harvest off the seeds, especially since it is shading my most favoriteest pepper down there, which is the cayenne pepper, and my jalapenos. So the goldenberries, they need to go. There's too much. Just too much. Walking through here is fun. But my kids love them. They're super, super prolific. Definitely recommend them in a garden if you had a little bit more forethought than I did. And then this is the compost, or was supposed to be compost and has now become a squash bin with all these pumpkins just growing everywhere. This is all the compost from when we moved the chickens. So all of the volunteer seeds came from there, from what we had fed them the year prior. And it has done really well, along with another berry, I'm assuming raspberry or goldenberry, coming from the bottom. And so we have some salvia with some marjoram in there somewhere. My citronella that needs to be potted, we'll be doing that over in the expansion. I'm going to show you in a second. More lavender, and then a dead blueberry that's just not happy with me. Same with over there. Not sure if that one's even alive anymore. And then blueberry. So the expansion that we're going to do is going to be in this graveled area behind me, which is kind of sloped, so it can't really even be RV parking. We tried putting an RV back here before. Wasn't very safe. So we're going to do some rearranging and making some in-ground beds for a change. I want to see the difference. I know the cost will be a lot less because I won't have to spend thousands of dollars on raised beds for this size of a space. And then I'm hoping that I can do, I think it's the Ruth Stout method. I want to try that and do some like chip drops and stuff and get that going. And I want to see the difference. I want to do some rows. I'm thinking about 4-foot rows from over here to the fence line. And then all the berries that I've mentioned to you, this gets a lot of sun in the summertime. But along the fence over there, since that's the west side, it gets shaded in the hottest time of the day. So I'm thinking of moving the blueberries over there because there's really no shade in my yard, except for the one tree behind me that the chickens are under for that reason. So I'm thinking of planting all the berries through there, moving as many of the raspberries and golden berries over there, some canes, and they can go up. And then I'm also considering down there moving my elderberries. I have 2 more elderberries on the opposite side of the yard that do not do well in the full heat of the sun, which is interesting because in the city against a brick wall, they did. They grew ginormous. These ones, not so happy. So I'm thinking of doing all of that. So let me show you, we kind of mapped out, and I'm thinking 2 foot. Maybe I'm too big for a 2 foot space in between the things. Don't know. We'll see. But that is going to be our project. And then our neighbor gave us some new, he made some wonderful garden beds out of old bunk beds from a church, and they have like Bible verses and stuff on it. So they feel really fancy to me. I'm super excited to put those somewhere, and I haven't decided where yet. Probably where the berries are currently. So once I move them, I'll move those into here. But yeah, so I'm hoping that we can up the scale, get a little bit more professional looking, not like that wild mess that's out there, and maybe do some local herbs, local things like ginger, turmeric maybe up here. Like I said, echinacea, I'm not too sure, but that would be nice to have a row of. Nettle, I would love to have a row of nettle, but mine get teeny tiny, and then I see people back east that have them like 6 foot tall. I don't know. So let me know what you think I should grow in the in-ground beds. Maybe potatoes next year, because I plan to amend it and then maybe do a cover crop over the fall. Haven't quite decided. Or maybe something over the fall that will help nourish it. Or maybe just throw some beans on it if we get it done soon enough and let that work its thing. But let me know. What do you think? I would like possibly even considering getting some rabbits maybe and doing that hole where you move it across and let them poop all over everything. Again, would love some insight if you've done something like this before. We have to move all the gravel. That's going to be fun. And then one of my friends lent us a rototiller. Bless her heart. We're gonna till that land. So, and remember, if you didn't know, we are in a burn scar where a fire came through. So this is going to need to be heavily amended, which is one of the reasons I did raised beds. Didn't want to mess with it. So let me show you. So we're going to do 4 foot wide beds, 4 foot from the fence, and we'll do about 4 feet in between the rows roughly, maybe only 3. We'll see how it goes. We're going to do in-ground beds through here, and then along here on the outside, once we move all the junk, we're going to move the berries, and we'll have the berries growing all along the fence. Yeah, good job. When we first moved in, we had a dump truck of dirt. I will link that below if you really want to see it being delivered and my kids going crazy. But that is why there is a hole here, because they were playing in it for so long. Oh, and then there's this bed I forgot to mention. This is kind of my catch-all. It does have some volunteer tomatoes again. Shocked, I know. More over here. My favorite few. This is a wonderful pain relief, especially for migraines. If you eat a leaf a day, supposedly, I haven't tried it myself, so that's why I'm saying supposedly, it'll keep migraines at bay. You can tincture the leaves and the flowers for pain. I do put feverfew in my pain tonic, my pain tincture. I'll link that below if you're curious. And then more tomatoes. A campaign down here I'm trying to get going. This is probably my second or third year trying to get it going again. I think there's something with just how much sun I have. Maybe a high tunnel or something if it wasn't so windy would be good. But anyway, so kind of hard to see. I use brown twine on here, but 4 foot across, 4 foot from the fence. Run berries all through down here. Maybe down at the end do some of the elderberries on either side of the corner. But yeah, this is essentially a bed that I'm thinking of right here, and then maybe 2 feet over, maybe 3 feet. I think 4 feet is just too much because we have such a small little area, and we have to stay at least, I believe, 5 feet from the house for the fire ordinances. So get a couple rows in if we do 2 to 3 feet, I think, and then we'll till it and see what we can do. Yarrow is amazing. You use it for stopping bleeding internally and externally. I need to harvest these, especially the leaves since this one hasn't flowered yet. Some oregano. So I feel like I'm the feral farmer after showing you the hot mess of the wild garden, but that's life. We have food that's coming in, we're using it, and I'm growing and I'm teaching my kids as we go. So let me know what you think and follow along to see how our life's little project goes.